Hello there, everyone. I'm Gage LaPierre, and I'm pretty content right now. I'm over here at Bellridge Longleaf Environmental Management Area, and it's about a 40-minute drive northwest of Gainesville, Florida. And Bellridge Longleaf Environmental Management Area, it's about 300 acres, and it consists entirely of Sandhill community. So, what is Sandhill community? And how do I know that's what I'm in right now? Well, for starters, let's go back to one of those really important abiotic factors that we talked about earlier in the lectures in this class that you can't get away from no matter where you go. You got to know what you're standing on, and that's the soil. So the soil here and in Sandhill communities are what's known as an entisol. And an entisol is, it's kind of a fancy way of saying that there's no horizon development, and that just means it's kind of all just one thing. And here, that one thing is just sand. So from where I'm standing, and probably, more than 5 feet down is nothing but sand. So why is that? Well, why is this area and other sandhill communities, why are they just 5 feet of sand or more? Why is that the soil profile in those areas? Well, remember back from some of the earlier lectures when we talked about in Florida, it was only 5 million years ago when most of the state kind of emerged from higher sea levels. And before that time, and even during that time for quite a while, Florida was existing as barrier islands, archipelagos, and many of these sandhill communities were, islands. So today, we're far inland, and these are kind of what we think are a remnant of those earlier days when this landscape was a lot closer to coastlines than it is now. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, and obviously a lot of the plants and the animals here are really well adapted for these xeric and dry conditions. And I'll say a little bit more about that in a bit, but before I forget, let's just kind of make some general observations while we're out here. So the first thing that you kind of notice is it's really open. It's not what you might think of as being forest. It's a little bit more closer to what some people consider a savanna. And just as a general observation, the trees here, the density of the trees isn't that high. There's not a whole lot of shrubs. And when we kind of walk in here, and I'll take us in some spots later, we're seeing mostly grasses. And it's not just one grass, although it may look like one grass. There's actually several grasses out here that contribute to this really diverse understory. There's also quite a few different forbs and legumes that make up it. So why is that? So why is this area made up of so many different grasses and forbs, and why is the overstory so sparse? Why aren't there more trees here? Well, again, I mean, when we look back earlier in our class and we kind of mentioned another really important abiotic factor or disturbance that maintains these systems, this community, and much of Florida and the Southeast, is fire. So, fire in the past would have occurred on average. It would have occurred sporadically, but it would have occurred on average every 1 to 3 years in a community like this, a Sandhill community. And, you know, prior to human influence, these fires would have been lit by lightning, through lightning strikes. And in the past, you know, fires would have occurred during times that would have been really conducive for fires to spread. And that would have been in these time periods when this transition period between dry and wet seasons, which is when we see a lot of wildfires in Florida. So without fire in these sandhill communities, it wouldn't really look like this. You would start to see a lot more shrubs. You would start to see a lot more trees. And over time, those areas would transition pretty quickly into a dominance of hardwood species made up primarily of laurel oak and sand live oak. So a lot of the tree species that we see out here very well might disappear in place of those, and a lot of the grasses and the forbs, this diverse open understory that we're seeing, that would also disappear.